News organizations are pushing back against tech giant Meta. The parent company of Facebook and Instagram has recently blocked Canadian users from being able to see news on its social media sites because it doesn't want to pay for news content, as a new law would require. And now publishers and broadcasters say Meta is abusing its dominant position, and these new rules are simply designed to discipline Canadian news companies. The Canadian Association of Broadcasters, the CBC, and News Media Canada have filed a complaint with Canada's Competition Bureau, urging it to use its power to stop Meta from blocking access to news.
I think they have every right to be concerned. I mean, obviously, if your very core business is going to be potentially affected by this, you're going to use every tool available to you. And certainly the Competition Bureau is one such tool. The problem here is that, this is the wrong organization for the wrong purpose. The Competition Bureau does not weigh in on, whether or not big American companies can and cannot or should not carry links to content on their platforms. It really comes down to advertising revenue, and are those behaviors anti-competitive? So they're going to the right place, but really they're asking the wrong question. But the fact that they're even weighing in is a good thing.
The parent company of Facebook and Instagram started blocking Canadian news content on its platforms in response to a federal law forcing it and Google to pay publishers for content they link or repurpose. Canada's Online News Act introduces a new bargaining framework intended to support news businesses secure fair compensation when their content is made available by dominant tech giants and generates economic gains.
This really is a case about fairness. News organizations pay journalists, and they build the newsrooms and staff them in order to create media content. It does not get created for free. Then big social technology companies take this content, share it on their platforms, and then sell ads against it and don't pay back to the organizations that created it in the first place. So they're making billions of dollars off of someone else's effort. It's not fair. This law is meant to level the playing field and make it more fair for everybody.
Some non-news organizations getting caught up in the mess too. Tech expert Amber Mack tweeting that her production studio website was temporarily blocked today. Google is taking a similar stance as Meta. Google says, "We have informed the government that we have made the difficult decision that when the law takes effect, we will be removing links to Canadian news from our search, news, and discover products, and will no longer be able to operate Google News Showcase in Canada." This, of course, a big problem for Canadians who are used to accessing news online. Joining us now to talk about this is journalism professor Joel Kaplan from Syracuse University. Professor, do you think Meta is abusing its dominant position, or in other words, being a bully, like some news publishers and broadcasters are claiming?
Yeah, I actually do. It's not just Meta, it's Google as well. I mean, I think, Google was the first profiteer off of media, and the media kind of, they made a mistake early on, probably in the year 2000, by not charging or having paywalls. That was a big mistake, and they haven't recovered from that. But Meta, I think, takes it to a different degree, right? They actually are using the content or allowing people to post content. It's like a copyright infringement in many ways, right? They're allowing people to post content that they had nothing to do with producing, and they're selling ads against that content. And that's really, in my mind, blatantly unfair. And the word bully is a good one. It's actually the word of the day. It's the word of the day today. But I think that's exactly what they are.
Do you think it's important for Canadians to be able to access legitimate news content on Facebook and Instagram? And what happens when we can't?
So I always think it's important for Canadians to be able to access impartial, objective journalism on any platform they want to access it on. And as we've learned over the years, we have to meet them where they are as opposed to them meeting us where we are. And obviously a lot of Canadians are on Facebook and Instagram. So it would behoove the news media to get their content available to them. Well, I mean, I understand the journalistic and the news organizations concerned that they like to be compensated for all the hard work they do. I mean, It costs money to pay your salary, to pay the salary of newspaper reporters and editors and TV reporters and producers. And it seems unfair that big tech comes in, gets all the gravy, and then sells the ads for that. On the other hand, the exposure of your news organization or other news organization is greatly enhanced by the fact that they're available on social media, because honestly, some people don't turn on the TV anymore or certainly read newspapers. They don't read the traditional print newspapers, but even online, they prefer to kind of hang out with their friends on Instagram and Facebook. And so when they have news there, it kind of gets them into, oh, I didn't know this happened, and they click on it. So in a way, it's a two-edged sword, and it's problematic. And I think right now, Canada is in the eye of the storm, right? I think, some European countries have already done this. The United States has thought about doing this. Everyone wants news, but news isn't free. And people think news is free, but it's not.
Do you think Meta will backtrack like it did in Australia, or eventually be forced somehow to allow news on its platforms once again?
So this is like a giant game of chicken, right? Who's going to blink first? Will it be Meta, or will it be the news organizations in Canada will say that this new law isn't working and we're losing people who normally would come and read our content? As a journalism professor, I hope that Meta blinks, because honestly, they should be compensating for selling ads on other people's content. So that's my wish. It remains to be seen, and I think the next few months is going to tell the story.
Thanks so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you very much for having me.